Kamchatka, this is not only a country of fire-spitting volcanoes, but also a country of bears, one of the biggest and the most dangerous predators on Earth. Long before the appearance of a human, they were the masters of these places, and they still retain their power on the entire peninsula. The total bear population is 20,000, but the greatest density of predators is in the south of Kamchatka, where the largest natural reserves are located. Kronotsky Natural Reserve and South Kamchatka Natural Reserve, with the Lake Kurilska considered to be the most bearish place. In early fall, about 2,000 bears gather there side by side, and this is a whole bear colony, if not to say a country. And this is where the photographer Olga Michi is going to see for herself and photograph the most famous bearish places in the world. And also take a risk of meeting the bears face to face, or rather, to the bear's snout. Oh my God! But before this happens, Olga has a long way to go through fishing villages, ferries, and towns of Kamchatka. Through the places where there are completely different bears who, they say, are easier to shoot than to tame, because the wild animal will always remain wild. And Olga Michi will try to find and photograph them too. But first things first. At the beginning of autumn, the mouth of Kakatsin River usually becomes the biggest fishing spot. So Olga and reserve staff decided to go there first, and they're on the roll. The camera caught about 10 bears at once. Most of them are still lazily sleeping on the shore, although there are silhouettes of several other bears a little bit upstream of the Kakatsin River. They apparently came for breakfast, so that means that Olga arrived right on time to shoot the bear feast. So beautiful, yes, they're walking straight in the haze. It is really complicated to distinguish one angler from another, because all bears in Kamchatka, gaining almost same weight and covering their bodies by scars during the battles of the best fishing spots by September. This is one more evidence of how deceptive their seemingly harmless appearance is. There will be a fight now, look. A fight is brewing, but they sorted it out very quickly. 2 seconds, that's all. But Olga still prefers to melt under the beauty of these formidable animals from the boat. First, it is more convenient for her to make shots from this perspective than from the ground, especially with this light. And second, it's much safer. So Olga does not hurry to land while there is an opportunity to catch a good shot from the water. First of all, Olga is choosing the lens. The middle of the river, right at its mouth, has been selected as a shooting point. There is a magnificent overview where the bears are, spread out before you, and this tactic proves to be successful very soon. There are such cool shots, like the bears are passing by, the bears are thinking, the bears running away, and the bears fighting with the bear is eating a tasty fish. And there are the ones where the bear bare its teeth and the bear smiles. These are the scenes from the morning life of the bear tribe, where adult males having a rest after a hearty breakfast, and the young bears doing first steps in the fishing. It feels like it is getting warmer, and the fish became more active. The bears revived immediately. When we came here, there were very few bears in the water. Most of them dozed on the shore. And now everyone is actively running for each other, trying to steal the fish away. The young bears hunt on their hind feet. Adult ones stand in the water. And it's much better now even for photography. That's all that can be made from a given point. it is necessary either to land on the shore or to go to another place. Olga is curious. What happens there, far from the coast, on the bear trails that riddled the trade slopes of the surrounding hills? But they all need to rest and sum up the results of the first day in a bearish country.
If the bear smells food at some area, then its strength, instincts which accumulate the fat reserve exceed its fears, and the bear will look for a way to reach this object, which is the source of food. Accordingly, it can make a tunnel. It can attempt to penetrate this territory. Therefore, all these objects are under protection. We monitor very carefully how visitors treat garbage. Do not throw food around, because this leads to baiting.
Yes, the inscription on the plate says, if you feed the bear, it means you killed it.
Yes, because we have to shoot him afterwards. In general, every well-fed bear is practically someone's human life. They see it as a food resource. They see that a person appears, then food appears. It has an association, like man, food, man, food. And then one day it could smell the smell of a man, but when it doesn't find food, it can perceive the man himself as food, and naturally attack him for the purpose of eating.
So it means that it is a man's fault. He provokes bears to attack. After all, these animals are peaceful only for some time. Therefore, when you step into their territory, it's not worthwhile to abuse the hospitality of the land of bears, and to violate local laws for sure.
A she-bear can...
She will react not so well.
Yes, she can show a little aggression now, because we will pass near the cubs. So we need to be very careful and cautious. Stand still here. I'll go there and try to fend them off a little from the barrage, so that the she-bear does not take us as a threat to the cubs. And then we will pass already through the most fish-catching barrier.
One of the ways to drive a bear away is unnatural loud sounds. Especially the metallic sound of the shutter. And not only from the gun, but also from the Olga's camera. Such a tandem security, but an improvised musical performance made by the park ranger and photographer Olga Michi does not produce the proper impression on the bear.
I'm afraid it will be difficult for us to pass now. Let me now try to go by myself. You will stand back now. I will try to drive away those 3 bears. And if the she-bear won't react on me, then everyone will pass under my supervision. But you should be very careful.
The she-bear is dangerous because she attacks without warning when she feels a threat from a person, especially if her cubs are nearby. Nevertheless, Olga could not resist the temptation of making a few shots of the cubs. This time, Sasha was on the guard.
Don't stand near the cubs. Look, the bear is coming.
Yes, yes. Let's go.
Go forward.
I took some pictures. It turns out that this was only a preliminary acquaintance with a predator, because an imminent meeting with a bear waited Olga in the near future. She's already nervous. Hell. Let's close the door here.
That is all. We pass here. A good shot does not cost someone's life.
Especially if it happens like that, right on the road, when it cannot be avoided. It's better to keep your head down and act clearly according to the statute, which the state inspector articulates as the Bible.
There's a very high concentration of bears, and any mistake or illiterate attitude towards the bear, disregard safety rules, can simply lead to death.
To death. The female bear retreats this time, but not alone. With the cubs, which do not catch our eyes immediately, the inspector has no choice but to go on the offensive.
Oh, let me pass.
She understood and does not mind.
Let us go. Go back. Go back. Go back. Well done.
It is important to keep up with a person with a gun in such situation. Although Olga has some trouble doing it, she wants to catch the beast on the camera. As the result, the loss of a few seconds, which are enough for the bear jumps at Olga. But Dmitry does not intend to test the fate, especially here on the bridge.
Do not stop. Go ahead. Go ahead.
In general, the hike to the hills surrounding the Coral Lake is not such a fun activity. Here, the bears can be literally behind every bush. Therefore, Dmitry prefers to play safe and loudly announce himself on the bear trail.
Wait. Hush.
What happened?
You can go now.
Okay. This assumption was confirmed later. A bear was actually caught by one of the cameras right on the way of Olga and Dmitry. But fortunately, he was frightened away by the sound of the rifle bolt, or maybe by the flying camera that was filming him at that moment. Anyway, the way to the forest was free. Another question, how we should move on. In these tricky thickets of Kamchatka taiga, where the beast can wait for you at every step. Fortunately, it's autumn now, not winter, and bears full up, which does not negate the need to look around. What if someone waits for us behind the bush? But there are no surprises, while Dmitry does not come across a kind of a lair. Oh, look. What is this?
Well, it looks like it's a kind of lair.
That's shallow, is it?
You know, usually a bear does not make such lairs, but we can take into account that it is made on the slope. It's like his temporary residence during the spring, when there is no food still, but a bear has already woken up and come out of hibernation here.
The trees arranged to this place as if they maybe were a roof or something, and the shadow at one time.
Yes, because it does not hibernate in a moment. It's a procedure. They have to prepare themselves slowly to fall asleep, and they do not come out of hibernation immediately. It cannot get out of the lair and start running and look for food straight ahead. These processes are gradual. It needs some time to recover, to come out of hibernation. And most likely, it used this place.
I see. Bear lairs usually can be found in holes of 1 to 2 meters depth from the surface of the earth, and their length are about 2 meters. So, the beast can safely pass winter and not freeze until spring. Here, among the forested hills, a bear chooses the most inaccessible place, often on the slopes of gullies where any animal does not need to climb, especially human. But Olga has another goal, to find and take a shot of the bear's lair. You know, it is great when you do not just do shots, but you extract them physically. These are just like labored shots. They are much more interesting, and when you just came, took a photo, and left, this is not such an interesting deal. Who knows, maybe it will be possible to catch the bear, who's relaxing here after the dinner. For the sake of such a frame, you can tear through the thickets again and again, although each new rise and descent is given increasingly difficult, and it seems that there will be no end to these obstacles, until the path does not lead tired travelers to the edge of the forest, where they see a perfect view of the Coral Lake. That means the bearish shore is very close. Only this time Olga will take a few shots from the ground, not from the water. If she will be lucky, of course. Fortunately, local fishermen react quite calmly to the strangers who appeared on their fishing ground. They let Olga get as close to them as possible, as she probably never dreamed of, literally on a distance of several meters. Then even closer, then more, until Olga is almost reaching one of the huge males. She's standing 3 steps from it, and she could film this moment on the phone. To give a sense of the presence in this primeval wild land, on the shores of the mysterious coral lake, where for thousands of years this incredible performance of life and death has been played, where Olga can look so closely into the eyes of the owner of the Kamchatka taiga and catch the right moment for that very picture. Here, man understands the real greatness of nature. I dreamed of seeing these hills and mountains at the base of these volcanoes, and finally to make that very shot for which a trip to the edge of the world was worthwhile. In the country of free beasts that live according to the laws of wild nature, and where I will return again one day. But first, I will share the beauty of this primitive land with the rest of the world, because we must save it for our children. Some of these photos of Olga presented at one of the Moscow exhibitions soon. The audience had the opportunity to make a personal contribution to the conservation of wild Kamchatka. Because Olga transfers the money from the sale to nature support funds. In addition, each exhibition is an occasion to reflect on how small and fragile, actually, our planet Earth is.